Good day class. Today we're going to do a practical that involves a titration. This is taken from November 2019, paper 36. It involves the titration between FB1, which supposedly contains lime water, and FB2. This small volume of solution contains 0.5 mole per dm cube hydrochloric acid, and we're going to titrate these two together. However, before that, we will have dilute this small volume of solution into a larger volume so it can be used for this titration. So for that, we'll need a volumetric flask, 250 cm cube of that. Let's empty that. And I'll need a pipette. These have all been pre-rinsed, so they are relatively clean. So be very careful when you attach your pipette filler. These sections here are rather thin and can be easily broken. Now, one of the problems that students have when using these would be the pipette filler itself. Sometimes the pipette filler is leaking or cannot have good suction. The one I'm currently using has a bit of problem, but it should be okay. Losing suction. There we go. So if ever you lose suction, press the top part and add some more gas to that so you can have a bit more suction. Then adjust using the little parts here. Adjust, and that's the volume that I want. Now let it all go back into the volumetric flask. In fact, you can just simply take this out and allow it to pour out into the volumetric flask. Now, I've seen students blowing into these or tapping them on the bottom really hard, but all you have to do is just let it flow all the way to the end and just touch it at the very bottom and then extract it. This little volume that is left behind there is insignificant compared to the total volume of the solution that is inside the volumetric flask. So it's okay. Replace the gun. Oops. Now next, I will have to fill this with deionized water. So I'm going to go and get it first. I have deionized water on the side here. The bottle. For starters, don't try to squeeze in liquid into the volumetric flask, it will just take too long. So open the cap and pour it in. Once you have reached the bottleneck, replace the cap and adjust the volume carefully. You want to get it on the line with no parallax error. And that's it. If you want even more accuracy, you can use a little dropper, one of those 1 cm cube pipettes. Fine. Next, we homogenize the solution. And there you have it. We put 25.0 cm cube of FB2 into the volumetric flask, and we have filled it up all the way to the top with DIMS water. That's 10 times dilution there. So the concentration of this solution now, if you do a little bit of math, it should be 0.05 mole per dm cube. Hopefully that is comparable with the concentration of our lime water in FP1. Next part, we will have now use this solution, but my pipette is not clean, so I will have to rinse it out again and then rinse it through using the new solution that has been diluted. Alright, so just to be safe, I'll pour out a little bit of this into the beaker. Okay, now that I have rinsed this through, I can begin using this diluted solution of HCl. I'll pour some out here just for rinsing purpose. So for starters, I'm going to put some of the new solution in just to rinse it. Just to rinse it out. Okay, so this should now be suitable for use from the volumetric flask. Next, I also need a fresh conical flask. I will extract 25.0 cm cube from this pipette, using this pipette. And again, because this pipette filler is a bit faulty, I'll just readjust it, continue with suction. Once I've gotten the amount that I need, quick adjustments there, there you go. And again, I'll just take this off and allow the solution to flow into the conical flask. It takes a while depending on the make of your pipette itself. Again, don't spend time trying to get the solution at the bottom out. Just lightly touch it at the bottom of your conical flask and you're done. Now let's set everything aside so there is less clutter. And now we begin our titration using a burette. So before that, I'll have to fill this up with FB1. Preferably do this at the sink. You can even use a small funnel on top. Okay, a little rinse first. So let's top this up. I've seen students topping this up to 50 cm cube. There is no point doing that. It's a major waste of time and you may be putting in more solution than you think. So I'm just going to go and top it up until there. Doesn't really matter what volume that is. So I can hold it, make sure bubbles are all gone first. No bubbles there. Then I can just read it from here, making sure that there is no parallax error. That's 8.2 cm cube. 8.2 cm cube. Let's stick this here first. And as always, you have to prepare a table and start the notation. Even before doing a titration, you should draw a table first. In our practical exam, your table itself is already worth marks. So do not be lazy and just draw lines to represent the table, box them in. So if I were to start my table drawing now, I will go initial volume slash cm cube, final volume slash cm cube, and then title slash cm cube. Draw a table for that, and box it in. My first reading will be my rough reading, and then the rest will be my. Okay, so my initial volume is 8.5. So that will be my rough. First. Okay, so my first titration value starts with 8.20. Again, you must use 2 decimal points, not 1. Okay, so 2 decimal points. 2 decimal points. And then I can begin my titration. The indicator for my titration is bromophenol blue, and as you can see, color is as thus. I will put a few drops of this in the solution. Let me just check. It doesn't say how many drops I have to use. It says a few drops, and when they say a few drops, it's up to your judgment call. If the color is too faint like this, you can't really see anything, I'll add a bit more. So let's see. That's the initial color of my solution. Initial color. Let us begin. So for starters, there's not going to be much change. It's not going to be much change. Since this is my first titration, it's a rough one, so it doesn't really matter how accurate this is, but I need to know at least the rough volume of my title. Like I'm almost there. Just to be safe, let me get a white towel. Just to be safe, a white towel, so I can see. Now if you look at that, color is like really faint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a few more drops of this. Indicate it much more clearly, and as you can see, I'm already beyond the color. So I'll take note of this volume here. The volume is 36.2. So I'll write it down. It's 36.20. So it's going to be 38.00 cm cubed. Let me just try adding excess and see whether anything happens. Now if I add excess, there you go. The color changes to a heavy blue color. So it seems like 28.00 is very close to my value. And to verify it, we'll do more.